A very good evening to you all. Thank you for joining us for the 8 o'clock edition of the UBC News Tonight. Wow, I'm already at 10 o'clock. Yes, this is going to be an hours-long bulletin, and without further ado, let's get straight into today's bulletin. Now, government of Uganda has disclosed that its intentions are to scale up investment in nuclear energy to meet the country's future demand as it progresses towards industrialization. While commissioning the Arua 132 kV/33 kV substation, the Vice President, Major Jessica Alupo, emphasized the need for bulk electricity to support the government's prospective projects aimed at transforming lives. We have a detailed report.
The Vice President, Major Jessica Alupo, has commissioned the second electricity substation in Arua to enhance transmission of electricity to West Nile region.
Electricity will not be adequate for the manufacturing industries at that time. Therefore, government is scaling up investments in new generation capacity because of the increasing industrialization. Uganda is in the preliminary stages of developing its nuclear energy program. We need nuclear energy for peaceful application in health, trade, agriculture, and power generation.
The substation is part of the Kole Gulu Nebi Arua 289-kilometer transmission line, which connects the West Nile region to the national electricity transmission grid. The project is expected to further facilitate power trade in the region.
Our neighboring countries which are faced with power constraints, the DRC and South Sudan, this line will provide opportunities for power trade and also strengthen regional integration.
The Uganda Electricity Transmission Company Limited and the World Bank are the major implementers of this project, which has cost government $100 million. The two transformers, each with capacity of 40 MVA, have been installed.
This project will boost socio-economic growth in the region, enhancing industrial growth, both small scale and large scale, agricultural modernization, and improvement in provision of public services.
The 132 kV Kole Gulu Nebi and Arua transmission will reinforce the power supply in West Nile and northern Uganda, connect West Nile to the national grid, and is also pivotal as UETCL prepares for regional interconnection through the East African Power Pool.
The government is also set to accelerate projects aimed at connecting last-mile power consumers as well as improving wealth creation initiatives to balance power supply and demand.
Today, government has made it easier for us, one, to attract processing plants, to attract industries, and these industries will create jobs for our people.
Have come and formed an already established policy of electricity connectivity. The policy of connecting all district headquarters. When you are a baby district, you are assured that that district is going to be connected because it is our policy.
The West Nile community has commended government for fulfilling its commitment and has requested for further support to extend power to remote districts to boost factors of production and value addition in the region.
Do our sub-counties have electricity? Do our health center 4s have electricity? Do our health center 3s have electricity? Do our secondary schools and primary schools have electricity? Do the social centers, like trading centers, have electricity?
Districts like Obongi will have to wait a bit longer as government secures funding for power extension.
Must have a backbone there within. But for Obongi, where they don't have any pole, how can you benefit on a short connection? So we have to establish the network first, and then we can use part of this to do short, entrances into Obongi.
The 132 kV/33 kV infrastructure commissioned will evacuate power from the generation plants of Karuma, Agago, Achua, Nyagak 1 and 3 to meet the region's unserved demands. Story compiled by Nasil Luwama for UBC News.
And furthermore, the First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, has urged people to document their stories to serve as examples for the younger generation, guiding them on what is good and bad. While launching a book titled The Heart Unrequited by Ngana Bisangwa at Serena Hotel in Kampala, Janet Museveni emphasized that if adults do not take action now, their children will be left with absurd writings as their only reference. We have a detailed report.
3, 2, 1. Congratulations, Archbishop.
The Executive Director of the Organization of African First Ladies Against HIV and AIDS, Ngana Bisangwa, has authored a book titled The Heart Unrequited, which is a collection of her diverse life experiences. She identifies with the main character, Olivia, sharing her personal journey of growing up without adequate preparation. In the book, Ngana reflects on her journey of self-discovery and questions whether getting married and having children was the right path for her.
Culmination of all those things, the nice experiences, the good experiences of falling in love, and then, you know, the good life, you're driving your car to work, you're taking your children to school, and then along the way, you begin to ask yourself, is this it? Is this it? And then you can't even, name the emotion you're going through. You cannot define the confusion you're having. And then that search leads you to begin to get answers. And if you want to know some of the answers I found, read the book. Absolutely.
The First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Ms. Janet Museveni, praised this masterpiece, saying it would impact both young people and married couples. She challenged adults to document their own stories, highlighting the importance of recording both good and bad experiences.
Therefore, you can see what can happen to young people and young marriages in this increasingly difficult world if there is no right places to find right answers. That is the reason this book that I'm launching today is truly a blessing in our society as we become open to a reading culture. Much as we criticize the poor culture of reading in our society, unless we write literature that is edifying, what do we expect our young people to be reading? So if we ourselves as the people who know what is good and what is bad, what is righteous and what is evil, do not get our act together and the right sense, the world will throw nonsense at our children, and our children will read that.
In the book, Olivia endures significant turmoil, while Okello struggles with managing his emotions. Ngana underscores the importance of demystifying pain, sadness, sorrow, and grief.
That if we are going to make a difference, we need to become students. It doesn't matter to what, because you can't teach what you don't know. Absolutely. And for me, that's what I have decided. And the more I understand them, the more I gain authority to speak into their lives, because then you're talking from a point of understanding. Absolutely.
The book also highlights the abundance of counselors available for marriages in distress and offers potential solutions for struggling couples. Immediate former Vice Chancellor, Uganda Christian University, Reverend Canon Dr. John Senyonyi, explained that a successful marriage is built on a give and take philosophy, emphasizing love that continuously gives without ceasing.
As we see in this book, even beauty and all the other things that we cherish is not what makes a marriage. The thing that comes through the book, and that I believe very strongly, is that hope for your marriage, hope for my marriage, is in the author. It's a very simple thing. The manufacturer knows best. Who started marriage? Friends, divine love is primarily a commitment to give. And marriage gives us the best example of how to walk in marriage with love.
I'm Nafka Farida and Dan Lugemwa in Kampala.
Now, Isingiro district leaders have petitioned the third Deputy Prime Minister Rukia Nakadama over alleged inadequate service delivery in their district. The petitioners, led by Bukanga County Member of Parliament Nathan Byanyima, are calling for the district to be split in order to receive more extensive facilities and services. More details in this report.
Isingiro district leaders are seeking for the split of the district in order to get more services from the central government. The petition was presented during Isingiro district's belated Women's Day celebrations held at Chibona Boys Primary School playground in Birere sub-county. The event was graced by the third Deputy Prime Minister Rukia Nakadama Isanga. During the celebrations, Bukanga North County Member of Parliament Nathan Byanyima and Isingiro District Women Member of Parliament Claire Mugumya expressed concerns over the shortage of essential services in the district. They informed the third Deputy Prime Minister of their petition to have Isingiro District to improve service delivery.
The population is big. With these refugees, who compete for health services, there is no medicine. So the market will become 2 or 3 districts which will be comfortable, but it is a strain on government resources. But if you buy road equipment and you give us more facilities, which will be free.
Rukia Nakadama encouraged the leaders to work hard and participate actively in government projects. She also advised against mismanagement of government programs like GLOW, UEP and PDM, emphasizing the importance of these initiatives in eradicating poverty.
And also to encourage the government to invest more in women. When we invest more in women, we know many things can be turned, and that is changing the people's mindset, because in the previous years people did not know that women can also work. But we want to thank His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda for seeing women who can work and also working with them.
District Woman MP Claire Mugumya thanked the NRM government for its support and requested the Prime Minister's assistance in securing a hospital for the district.
Population has increased. We are too many. We are very many. The pressure is becoming too much because of hosting the refugees in 2 big refugee camps of Nasiba and Ochinga. So we request that really this district is given the opportunity of accessing a district hospital.
The event was also attended by other area leaders.
I want to request the women in the whole country, make sure that you don't only celebrate these functions, but make sure that you also work hard to make sure that you improve on your well-being, the livelihood of your children, as well as your families at large, and even the livelihood of the whole nation.
Benon Mukwaya, Nelson Akatuhurira, in Isingiro.
Now, the death of former Speaker of Parliament Jacob Oulanyah and Simon Peter Alepar have created 2 vacant positions in the NRM Central Executive Committee. Unfortunately, these positions cannot be filled until the next party elections. We sought answers from the party leadership on what this means for the NRM.
At the time of his death in 2022, Jacob Oulanyah held 3 political positions.
I, Jacob Lokori Oulanyah,
Member of Parliament for Omoro County, NRM National Vice Chairperson for Northern Uganda, and Speaker of Parliament.
I, Jacob Lokori Oulanyah, swear in the name of the Almighty God.
2 of these positions have since been filled. His son now serves as MP for Omoro County, and his deputy took over as Speaker of Parliament. However, the position of NRM National Vice Chairperson for Northern Uganda on the Central Executive Committee remains vacant.
And we did decide that the filling of the position will happen when we do the general election for structures of NRM, which will be done next year, 2025. So that's when that position will be filled.
As the country was coming to terms with this situation, another tragedy struck. A recent road accident on the Mbale-Tirinyi-Iganga Highway claimed the life of Simon Peter Alepe, creating another leadership vacuum in the NRM for Karamoja sub-region.
This is a very deep loss for us. You remember we had lost our regional vice chairman for Northern Uganda, Honorable Jacob Olanya. Now this is the second regional vice chairman dying. And as a party, we are mourning and we feel saddened about this loss. So we shall communicate to the public the arrangements which would come after this.
Unfortunately, there is no provision for replacing these positions until the next party delegates conference.
Their tenure ends on 20th August 2025. All of them. Now, the reasoning in the SEC was that we cannot have sporadic elections. Because if you went into SEC to replace the Right Honorable Lanya, would you replace him for 2 years remaining? Or would you have a person coming in for 5 years? So I think in the wisdom of the chairman of SEC, it was agreed that we hold on and we have the election once.
This explanation is echoed by Dr. Chris Bariomunsi, another SEC member.
But even when we are leaders from other regions, we also take into consideration the concerns of Northern Uganda. So there hasn't been a gap per se in terms of representation.
So we may not have a quick election for Karamoja unless advised. As Electoral Commission of the party, we wait for the guidance of the chairman of SEC and what SEC will have resolved. But I know that SEC resolved then that we keep those positions and we can always replace them when elections are held.
Where does this leave NRM members whose regions are now unrepresented in the Central Executive Committee?
We pray and believe that at the right time we can get able replacement.
The Central Executive Committee of the NRM comprises the National Chairperson, the first National Vice Chairperson, the National Female Vice Chairperson, and 6 Vice Chairpersons representing the regions of Uganda. Other members include the leaders of the party secretariat, led by the Secretary General, the National Treasurer, Deputy Secretary General, and the Deputy National Treasurer. The chairperson of the NRM Parliamentary Caucus and the chairpersons of the National Special League Committees and Commissions are also members. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Thank you, Henry Okrut. Now, Alebtong district has trained over 3,000 students in patriotism in a bid to curb the cases of indiscipline that arise from different schools. Students were taken through different patriotism drills to model them into useful citizens. Let's have a look.
Following the rampant incidences of indiscipline culminating into strikes in many schools in the district, Alebtong district has embarked on training students on patriotism skills.
Many schools have been striking, but when you go to school, you realize that the reason of striking is only food.
And I believe that through these trainings, we will be having paramount discipline as Alebtong.
At least 3,000 of students from different schools in Alebtong district were taken through a number of patriotism trainings.
All these students, they went under the training for almost 1 week, and today we are passing them out.
We took them through crime and security, why there is a need for the young people to be vigilant and support the security agencies in ensuring that their communities are safe at all times.
So beneficial to our schools in the sense that once a person is patriotic, the person is easy to manage, and they will see the environment around them as something that can help them to move far.
The Lira City RCC, Lawrence Igole, who represented the office of the president, cautioned the students against inciting violence in their society.
Those who are destructive, refuse their ideas, okay? Refuse those who come in the name of demonstration because they want to destroy the resources that must be for your future. Say no to those who are violent to our community. Say no to prophets of doom for this country. How can you be a Ugandan and you support another country which is not Uganda and you call them to come and disorganize Uganda?
Some of the students shared their different experiences.
And the training has taught us that we should have discipline among ourselves.
Yeah, it has made us to make friends with other students in different schools.
Patriotism has been championed as one of the aspects towards the nation building, emphasizing love for the country, unity among citizens for a strong and united nation. Eddie Olua, UBC.
The Archbishop of Kampala Diocese, His Grace Paul Semwogedede, has expressed concern over the food shortages in the communities of Karamoja, even as the country experiences an abundance of food. Archbishop Semwogedede urged all Christians to extend a helping hand to those in need. He made these remarks while presiding over a fundraising service for the renovation of homes for the needy in Nalukolongo, held at the Uganda Matters Shrine in Namugongo.
The Archbishop of Kampala Archdiocese, His Grace Right Reverend Paul Semwogedede, has launched a fundraising campaign dubbed the SAF Fund, aimed at raising 4 billion shillings for the renovation of the home for the disadvantaged in Nalukolongo, Rubaga Division.
This year, we shall be using SAF to uplift or repair Nalukolongo Bakateyamba home. This is a home that houses the elderly that cannot support themselves.
Those who are helpless, especially what the Archbishop has started on, SAFU, we are all coming together to ensure that we support those people. The little that you give is what makes a life of another. You have heard, the least you can give is 2,000.
During the fundraising event at the Uganda Matters Shrine in Namugongo, His Grace Paul Semwogedede urged Christians to support the initiative and encouraged them to live God-fearing lives. The director of the SAF Fund, Edward Kanyike, assured continued support for the church's efforts to help the vulnerable.
Let us join hands and we help our elderly under the Bakateyamba home.
The event successfully raised funds to support the initiative. Story compiled by Joseph Mwingo for UBC News.
Hundreds of youth gathered at Masindi Municipal Stadium to celebrate the 3rd anniversary of Radio 7. The station, which serves the Bunyoro region, was commissioned by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni in 2022 to enhance communication, particularly for government programs in the Bunyoro sub-region. Details in this report.
In 2022 events promoter and now Minister for Youth and Children Affairs, Dr. Bamba Rukuhara, launched Radio 7 in Masindi district. The station was named in honor of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
But I remember when I visited you before COVID, you told me, "What are you doing?" I said, "I do Bivulu." I said, "Bivulu only?" Okay. So deep in my heart, I said, "Why is he asking me this?" I went back and recited. I said, okay, I have a radio in Kampala, I have a radio in Juba, I have a factory, but what do I have home?
Hati omusigazi baramu nimurora byakozere hano aigwireho radio aha sentezi Nigozo ngenda kumwebaza awukai Isingiro radio 7 nkwagiziri.
As the station marks 3 years of operation, the anniversary celebrations were held at Masindi Stadium, attracting a diverse audience from across the Bunyoro sub-region.
Radio 7 oye! Museveni oye! Abasubuzi ba Masindi oye!
Area politicians, including Masindi District Member of Parliament, Asimwe Florence, also attended the event.
We want to appreciate Honorable Minister for always sourcing for us as Masindi.
Kanchima, Radio 7, happy birthday, Radio 7. For the 3 years, you're still a baby, you're still crawling, and we hope you'll be able to stand and talk and talk.
At government, ya NRM.
The NRM government has brought peace and stability, which has enabled us to strive in business. We want to implore the youth to embrace government programs like PDM, but please, you should not take the 100 million shillings to alcoholism.
The celebrations featured a month-long football tournament, which concluded on the main event day, adding to the festive atmosphere.
Abasingwire Museveni Cup bakigulya division. Nuwa bakulinda barracks yetu ya Mahe.
Robert Anyango, UBC News.
Student leaders from different higher institutions of learning have been trained and equipped with skills for patriotism. The training was organized by the National Secretariat for Patriotism in Uganda, where students vowed to use the skills to fight corruption.
Most desired training aimed at equipping the young generation with skills for the love and dedication to the country. Since the launch of the campaign for the Patriotism Initiative by President Yoweri Museveni, young people across the country have been trained and helped to embrace patriotism clubs.
We need to understand what patriotism is in the first place. And when you think about it, it's the love of the country, the love of the nation. And, you know, as young people, we are already extremely divided. The youth, we have so many different objectives and achievements in life that we're looking at. We're extremely divided. And so you have to ask yourself, what am I doing for my nation? What am I doing to serve my nation? And this is where the loyalty or the love that you have for the country comes in. You know, we complain about so many things as youth. We say, no, this has to be fixed, that has to be fixed. But we have to develop this feeling that, oh, we can fix this, that we can do this ourselves.
The principal officer in charge of high institutions of learning, while officiating at the training of guild presidents, appealed to students to take the lead in the fight against corruption.
We are trying to engage young people, one, by arranging community service. First of all, by us young people engaging in community service, we are showing the public that it's not about the government giving back to you. I always hear young people say, what has the government of Uganda done for me? You should instead ask yourself, what have you done for the government of Uganda as a young person? As young people, we shouldn't engage in sectarianism. This is what we are preaching as patriots. You are a Ugandan before you are a Munyankole. You are a Ugandan before you are a Muganda. You are a Ugandan before you are a Catholic or a Muslim or an Adventist. Let us prioritize being Ugandans first before any other thing that comes secondary.
The principal also reiterated the need for continuous training in high institutions of learning, especially among students' leaders. Emma Okubu and Praise Chiemba, both students' leaders, have vowed to use the training acquired to fight corruption.
Ideology of mentorship, ideology of patriotism can be centered into their mind, looking at love for the country, and also looking at what is trending right now. How do we curb the vice of corruption? And that's what we are looking at. There are very many ways on how we can fight this corruption. But as student leaders, it's prudent that we look at training, we look at this mentorship, we look at this close cooperation with the leaders of the country.
Because we need to look at the country in 50 years from now. How are we going to leave this country for our grandchildren or the next generation? Are we going to leave it in stutters? Are we going to leave it in shambles? If we only leave this country in a peaceful way or in an organized way, we need to start now. by loving ourselves, loving one another, and keeping the norms of the country.
The trainings for patriotism is aimed at helping young people to have love for their country. Mike Bakabulindi for UBC.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is expected to attend the Thanksgiving service of the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, John Mulimba. The service is scheduled to take place on the 9th of August 2024 at Nankola Playground in Sikuda Sub-County, Busia District.
President Museveni will be gracing the Thanksgiving service for Minister John Mulimba, set to take place on 9th August 2024 at Nankola Playground in Sikuda Sub-County, Busia District.
People are very happy because next week we shall be hosting His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda.
The former LC5 chairperson of Busia District, Michael Dula, says that since Busia was carved out of Tororo District, it has achieved boosting of 117 primary schools and 11 government-aided secondary schools and a significant reduction in the school dropouts.
Meaningful. We have also technical schools. We have Nalwire, which we don't have to have Nalwire. We have Polytechnic in Lumino. Those are achievements.
He attributes this progress to the government's education policies, particularly the introduction of free education for all Ugandan children in 1997 and the Universal Secondary Education Program.
Yeah, I say we have achieved quite enough.
In the health sector, Busia District now has 31 health facilities, including a referral hospital at Masanafu General Hospital in Dabani.
Every sub-county has a health center 3. Health center 3s, and at the parish level we have health centers 2s, which we didn't used to have.
Additionally, the government constructed a one-stop border point at the customs post, financially supported by Trademark East Africa. The introduction of programs such as the Parish Development Model, PDM, and Emyoga has boosted household incomes. Thomas Malingwo Uma and John Wandera, both beneficiaries of the Emyoga program, praised the government for the initiative but urged the introduction of a sub-industrial hub in every district.
With the power, there's enough power, but we want to extend it to different places.
The RDC of Busia, Michael Chewika, says preparations are underway with security agencies ensuring a safe and successful event.
We as leaders are organizing our people. We are prepared, we are organizing them through preparatory meetings such that we welcome the big man very well.
Also, through taxation, we can also put hands together and make some development for Busia.
Benon Mokwaya, Martin Sando in Busia.
Mbarara City Woman Member of Parliament Rita Atukwasa Bwahika has appealed to whoever has settled in a wetland to leave voluntarily. Atukwasa warned against the cost implication of wetland destruction, especially in densely populated areas. Let's take a look at the detailed report.
Mbarara City Woman Member of Parliament Rita Atukwasa Bwahika has asked all people still occupying wetlands to leave voluntarily.
Preparing the people on the catchment area of the Rucheche Nyarubungo or Chitagata Mitanoga wetland to transition so that they start on the preparation. This was started way back 2000.
Atukwasa was presiding over the handover ceremony of 70 beehives of 10 groups of Rachshakizi ward donated by the Ministry of Water and Environment.
Where you influence the people in Shema, influence the people in Bushenyi, whoever is on all that catchment area, so that we can be able to have visible impact.
The beehives donated to the groups were purchased under the program of Provision Wetlands for Well-Being Alternative Livelihood Option. The beehives are intended to reduce wetland usage. The Western Regional Wetlands Coordinator under the Ministry of Water and Environment in the Department of Wetlands Management, Daniel Businge, says giving farmers beehives for apiary is a way of providing alternative livelihoods can be applied in wetlands sustainably.
by providing them apiary. That's the keeping of bees so that they can get income as they use the wetland sustainably.
The Deputy Resident City Commissioner, Mbarara City South Division, Robert Kanusu, appreciated the government through the Ministry of Water and Environment for the alternative for better wetland usage.
And interventions like giving them facilitation to start apiary and other facilities. We know that this will really encourage and motivate the people to be part of the ecology conservation.
The Mayor Mbarara City South Division, Jomo Mugabe, said sensitization has been done and all people should be able to understand that carrying out any activity that damages wetlands is wrong. Mbarara City Environment Officer David Nwagaba Sancho explained the purpose of providing beehives to those who are living closer to the wetlands.
Especially degrading these wetlands. So that is the reason we are saying, let us have beehives.
Actually, we are not going to start from the scratch. There is already a technology, there is already a training going on here, how to train the farmers to produce bees.
University students and members of Assess WOW, which is the Save the Earth from A to Z, are a volunteer group affiliated with the Church of God, have spearheaded a cleanup campaign at Chambogo University as part of the Earth Recovery Project. This initiative aligns with the World Environment Day theme of land restoration, drought resilience, and combating desertification. Details in this report.
Desertification is a global crisis, consuming approximately 12 million hectares of land annually, equivalent to losing 2 Uganda-sized areas of arable land each year. This widespread destruction threatens agricultural productivity and food security. The campaign on land restoration emphasizes the urgent need to reclaim and sustain our environment. At Chambogo University, students are actively participating in various activities aimed at addressing environmental issues. Their primary focus is on combating land pollution through trash picking efforts, which not only help clean the campus but also educate fellow students and the broader community about the importance of reducing waste and protecting the environment.
Assess is an acronym that stands for Save the Earth from A to Z. Today we are at Chambogo University conducting a cleanup campaign that is driven with the project that is the Earth Recovery Project. So this time the World Environment Day has given us a project with a theme that is land restoration, drought resilience, and desertification. We see that currently in the world today, desertification is a cancer that is eating up the world at a rate of about even 12 million hectares of land are getting destroyed. If I'm to break that down in simple terms, in other words, those are 2 Ugandas being destroyed of arable land.
Another key aspect of the initiative is biodiversity restoration. The students are raising awareness about the importance of maintaining a healthy environment through education activities designed to inspire individuals to adopt sustainable practices.
So Assess today is conducting an activity based on land restoration as the major point of focus. Today we are trying to sensitize and also make awareness through the university students, since these are the pillars of the nation, that surely by conducting up these cleanup campaigns, picking up the trash, we are able to send out a message of hope at all humankind that surely, even though the earth is facing such a tragic disaster of desertification, but we can surely be able to revive it.
Despite the challenges posed by desertification and pollution, the collective efforts of the students and community members is hoped to make a positive impact.
Land has been polluted over times. Though we cannot turn back time, but however we can try to change the environment. How do we do this? By actually sensitizing people on how to restore the land. How? By conserving it and by reducing on the plastics. We know we use plastics almost everywhere. However, most people don't know the dangers. But in this current situation, now we know the dangers of plastics.
So that Kaye, UBC News.
Crop researchers are raising concerns over the growing resistance of pests and diseases, which they largely attribute to farmers not following proper prescriptions and application methods for pesticides. This resistance is posing a significant threat to food security as banana plantations, orchards and other agricultural ventures continue to be devastated by pests. Let's take a look at the report.
Agriculture remains one of Uganda's top sectors, significantly contributing to the country's GDP. In the fiscal year 2020-2023, agriculture accounted for about 24% of the GDP and 35% of export earnings. However, this contribution is under threat due to the increasing resistance of pests and diseases.
For example, some people are stuck. They know that if my plant is having such a symptom, I have to use striker, whereby sometimes it's not the case. So it's hard to divert them from the wrong theory they have to the right theory.
Birungi John Wycliffe, a resident of Ngora in Mwizi sub-county, Rampara district, is among many plantain farmers whose plantations have been severely damaged by strange pests. The bananas in his plantation have turned pale, black and hard inside.
Normally they start with black spots, then just in about 2 days it spreads through the banana plantation, and we find that most of them, almost all of them, they are attacked at once.
Crop researchers attribute this damage to farmers' reluctance to follow proper pesticide application methods, incorrect usage, often due to a lack of understanding of labels and prescriptions, has led to ineffective pest control.
These farmers have failed to understand the manufacturer's dosage, especially on prescription, per the bottle, or the labeling.
For those without that technical knowledge, you find farmers keep using the tools they use, especially from the affected plants, and as you know, without that knowledge, they keep extending using such tools, which spreads such diseases to other plants.
There is an urgent need for masses sensitization on the correct use of pesticides. Crop researchers are calling for efforts to educate farmers, enabling them to understand and appreciate the critical role scientists play in agriculture across the country. Ariamo Caroline, a project officer at the Center for Agriculture and Bioscience International, acknowledges the issue and says they are working closely with the Ministry of Agriculture to implement several interventions to tackle this challenge.
And so it's something that they will take it up and see that they provide the distributors or the producers of these agrochemicals provide relevant information that is needed. And I know the ministry has a template of all that information that is required.
At the recently concluded National Agriculture Show in Jinja City, some plant doctors showcased their products and exchanged knowledge with their colleagues. The show provided a platform for learning and collaboration among those in the agriculture sector. Kabi, in partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture, recently trained and certified over 100 plant doctors in southwestern Uganda. These plant doctors are now supporting government extension workers in the fight against pests and diseases. They were also trained in entrepreneurship skills, including beekeeping, pesticide development, and organic manure formulation.
The next 5 years, I'll be in position to reduce the levels of unemployment, starting with myself and extending it to other fellow youth. And I hope by the time I complete 5 years from now, I will have sensitized other hopeless youth who are unemployed like me.
Sudat Kaye and Ambrose Muhumuza, UBC News.
That I don't make you happy. All that time you would be complaining. I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Once upon a time, there lived identical twins who gave birth to beautiful princes and princesses.
Their mothers gave their babies' bodies a lot of care by applying on their skin with baby Junior jelly.
So dried their chariots and everyone would admire their glowing skin. Fun fact, baby Junior prevents diaper rash, dry and sensitive skin.
Moms all over Africa like baby Junior jelly. Baby Junior the skin. No more worries anymore. Baby Junior.
Baby Junior.
Predict the outcome of 10 football games and win big with tickets at only 500 shillings. Play for this Friday's draw to stand a chance to win big with Sports Stake 10.
Buy your tickets at authorized shops on nationallottery.go.ug to download the app or simply dial *278#.
Ugandan National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Micro-projects initiatives that were initially supporting community-driven development projects to improve the socio-economic conditions of deprived communities have been phased out. Funds will now be redirected to the parish development model, which is the PDM, to combat poverty in vulnerable regions. The Minister of State for Teso Affairs, Dr. Kenneth Ongalo Obote, made this announcement during his oversight tour in the Teso sub-region.
Kanyanga Etijotichan Women's Group is among those that benefited from micro-projects in Bukedia district. The group, which started as a savings association with 15 members, received 7 million shillings in 2018 and ventured into cattle keeping.
We bought 15 cows, with each member receiving 1. That's why we thank the government for remembering us.
The project, which has grown from 15 to 45 cows, has fostered self-reliance among the women, enabling them to afford basic needs.
Now we can pay school fees, maintain a good diet, and no longer rely on men because we can afford our own basic needs.
Although government projects often take time to bear fruits, this group's patience and trust allowed them to achieve their goals.
Hey, people used to laugh at me. They said, oh, you are wasting time, you are doing nothing, so you have nothing to do. But I was like, it's okay. By the time came, I received my cow. So far, I have 4 cows, but I'm waiting for, by the end of this year, there will be 5.
Despite the success stories registered over the 5 years of the micro-projects, government has decided to phase them out in favor of supporting the PDM.
Of course, now that we have PDM, this may seem like a duplication of what PDM is already doing. So most of these programs are being phased out, and the beneficiaries are being advised that the best place to go now is PDM. But also beneficiaries from our group, for example, can benefit from PDM. They are not stopped from benefiting from PDM. So overall, I am satisfied with what I have seen.
Minister of State for Teso Affairs Dr. Kenneth Ongalo Obote revealed the changes during his oversight tour in Teso sub-region, where 3 districts received the last bunch of funds. Joseph Oko, UBC.
The state of passenger vehicles providing town services, particularly in Kampala, has recently drawn public attention due to road safety concerns. Now, many of these public service vehicles display visible signs of disrepair, such as doors tied with ropes, shattered headlights, and broken windows covered with paper, yet they continue to operate around the city center. Now, in this report, we focus on the commuter passenger vehicles in dangerous mechanical conditions that mainly rely on mainly rely, or rather many rely on to travel to and from Kampala.
Passenger vehicles, also known as taxis, form the largest and cheapest means of transport in and around Kampala city. According to the 2021 Kampala Capital City Authority survey, there were about 16,000 PSV vehicles offering town service in Kampala metropolitan alone. Most of the taxis in service are mainly those used imported vehicles that require regular maintenance. However, lately, many passenger vehicles in town service are in poor condition, with a number of them poorly maintained.
tejja kuwa luksa lugitwala ku luguudo. Kati wakati mu mbeera y'okubeera nti zigenda ziggwamu mpola mpola nga bwe tuyingiza drone ez'omulembe oba eziri ku mutindo gavumenti gweyagala, tuyinza kulwawo mmotoka nkadde kweyongera bungi.
A number of taxis, mainly on town service, can be seen with either shattered headlamps, broken windows, falling back doors tied with a rope, shattered side mirrors, extremely worn out tires, and some emitting black flames.
Because we conduct these operations once in a while, looking for these vehicles in dangerous mechanical condition. But every time we mount these operations, they also get to know before we start the operation. And then they hide them or they even leave them at home.
Whereas many users only focus on the engine of the vehicle as a core consideration of a vehicle in either good or bad mechanical condition, things like headlamps, tires, door dings, vehicle interior, side mirrors, among others, should never be ignored as a safety measure.
So really, such acts are really not good at all, and that's why we continue to call upon members of the public. Give us this information.
If not well maintained, what may appear minor may result into a road crash. According to the 2023 Traffic and Road Safety Report, 10,634 road crashes were registered as a result of a vehicle mechanical condition.
The mostly affected categories of people in these accidents, we have always looked at the motorcyclists and their passengers, then the pedestrians. In other words, the vulnerable teams.
Michael Kananra, the spokesperson, Directorate of Traffic and Road Safety, says in different operations and campaigns, attempts have been made to get rid of all vehicles in poor mechanical condition.
So these operations are ongoing. We have now put emphasis or efforts on sensitizations. We have always told the people, and I want to re-echo it, that road safety is a collective responsibility. Everyone on the road has a role to play.
According to the leadership of the Federation of Uganda Taxis Operators, the restriction on importation of vehicles 15 years older than the date of manufacture crippled their ability in replacing their worn-out vehicles.
Replacing a vehicle from an old one, you go to a new one, it requires you like 70 to 80 million. This is why we are devising other means of seeing that we maintain the ones that we have.
Rashid Sechindi, the chairperson, Yutov, says due to affordability of the required vehicles, their clients have instead embarked on maintaining their outdated vehicles to remain in transport business.
Kati ng'otunuulira nti omuntu buli lunaku bw'agenda ku kkubo bamukuba ekipapula ekirala ekipya ekya BMC tasobola kuddaabiriza mmoloka eyo.
Sirina bwenja kukeera mmirippini nkwate emmotoka gye nina gwe gyolaba ng'enkadde nga nze ndaba ndimuva ekyokulya ky'abaana ndisuule ku kasasiro kiyinza okuba ekizibu kubanga gwe mulimu.
Efforts to help those willing to acquire brand new PSVs on hire purchase has been on course. In 2023, they engaged different financial institutions to support them under clear, friendly terms. Their requests were sent to 3 banks of Stanbic, DFCU and Finance Trust Bank, but still pending approval, awaiting submission of necessary documents. In the same vein, the Federation has been engaging with Kira Motors to make cost-friendly passenger vehicles for those willing to buy on hire purchase.
Twakwatagana ne project government yateekawo ya Kira Motors. Tulabe nti emmoroka batukolera emmoroka eziri ku ssente ensaamusaamu.
Uganda is party to the second decade of action for road safety 2021-2030 with the goal of stabilizing and reducing the number of road traffic deaths around the world by half.
If really all purpose, like I said earlier, we all purpose to really see how to be able to have discipline on these roads. For example, we know when we are supposed to overtake, we are not in that hurry, then we exercise patience on the roads and discipline. I am telling you, we are going to reduce these road crashes by more than 50%.
Nonetheless, because many vehicles in poor condition make their way into Kampala on daily, this also accounts to the burden of pollution that the city registers from carbon emissions.
The leading cause is vehicular pollution, borders, buses, vehicles generally, automobiles are the leading cause of our air pollution.
These motor vehicles burn gasoline, with some having brake, clutch and tire wear-offs that create harmful byproducts like nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons and benzene.
Our air quality is not one of the best. It has issues. We are required to have 5 micrograms per cubic meter of particulate matter, 2.5 particulate matter. Now, in Kampala sometimes it goes up to 40. The WHO levels recommended is 5 micrograms per cubic meter.
Improving public transport and limiting the number of polluting vehicles on the road, introducing less polluting vehicles, strict emission regulation and removing dust from the roads can be a reliable approach to reduce emissions. Susan Naonga reporting for ABC TV.
Thank you, Susan Nawonga, for that in-depth report. Now, the Office of the Prime Minister has begun training dairy farmers in Chiriandongo district on sustainable dairy farm management to enhance their livelihoods. Chiriandongo district chairperson Edith Aliguma Adieri announced that 6 farmer groups in the district have already received essential milk value addition equipment, which is set to transform the region's dairy industry.
Dairy farmers in Kiriandongo district have undergone training in comprehensive cattle management and milk production techniques. The training facilitated by the African Institute of Technology and Management through the Development Response to Displacement Impact Projects under the Office of the Prime Minister enhances farmers' skills in milk production and value addition. Farmers were equipped with knowledge needed to improve milk production, including techniques for cattle feeding, pasture cultivation, such as Brachylium lato, Desmodium, Napier, Boma rods, and Lab, and value addition.
Amagezi okulisa kulungo kuliso kuli modern futali kulisa kuli okweito kutukumanya.
They also received training on pasture preservation methods like hair and silage making, feed formulation, artificial insemination and cattle parasite management. Given that the cattle corridor is prone to animal diseases, the training emphasized vector control. The provision of milk value addition equipment to Chiriandongo farmers is a milestone in the district's agricultural development.
Different equipments which we are using, which we do use in the livestock industry. These are the field equipment flask, which are used for transportation of semen into the field, where we hold our insemination tools, things like the insemination gun, the serving gun, they are all inside here.
These efforts position farmers to boost productivity, ensure food security, and contribute to the local economy.
This facility has been put here for the purpose of this community. We happen to learn that even around this community, there are farmers who received animals from Dr. Deep.
Farmers were also educated on proper acaricide mixing for effective vector control and safe milk handling practices.
We take through our farmers, through animal health, specifically looking at pest and disease control, breed improvements, and the importance of using artificial insemination to be able to avoid reverse or inbreeding.
DRDIP's comprehensive support includes construction of roads and health centers, tree planting initiatives, and the development of valley tanks. Aviona Francisco, UBC.
It's true what people say, that when I wash and you wash your hands with soap, we'll have less infections as Ugandans. After all, it's hands that handle money. It's hands that feed us. Hands that prepare soil for farming. Hands that we use to learn. And hands that we use for fun.
When I wash and you wash, it means clean hands for all. So, wash your hands with soap and clean water regularly to keep away infections and disease-causing germs. This message is from the National Hand Washing Secretariat with support from UNICEF.
Welcome back. We now take a look at what's happening in sports, especially in Paris. Uganda's latest Olympian, Charles Kajimu, has lauded the government for its investment in sports, especially his bike at the Olympics. Kajimu rode the 272-kilometer road race and finished 77 out of 90 riders, but is proud of his achievements for finer details that sport emphasizes, especially at this level of Olympics. He became the first Ugandan cyclist to complete the road race at the Olympics after a didn't finish tag on the two riders, Ernest Bule and Mahurud Mukasa, in 1984.
Yeah, this is actually the biggest, the longest road race I've ever competed in, and it's actually the second longest race in the road race in the world. And it's actually more tougher than even more tougher than even the longest race. So yeah, but for me, thinking about how much sacrifices I've put in and how much other people have really supported me, and the faith a lot of people have in me, that's something that really enabled me to keep pushing and to be motivated to finish the race, and also thinking about the history of cycling here at the Olympics. That's also something I wanted to erase. I wanted to erase that DNF, because a DNF is always something you never want to have on your name, and yeah, you never have a sense of satisfaction at the end. And yeah, for me, after crossing the finish line, I just felt really relieved, and yeah, I really feel happy, regardless of the position.
And that brings us to the end of the 8 o'clock edition of the UBC News Tonight. Do join us at 10 o'clock for another bulletin. My name is Wadulo Arnold, and from the team we must say, see you at 10.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.